Ziggy Marley está estrenando un nuevo álbum hecho durante la pandemia. Es un trabajo discográfico para niños motivado por el encierro y las cuarentenas globales a los cuales el hijo de Bob Marley no es ajeno. En esta conversación, Ziggy habla con Canal 13 sobre el trabajo detrás de este nuevo proyecto y sobre las colaboraciones que lo habitan con figuras como Ben Harper, Sheryl Crow y la actriz Jamie Lee Curtis. Cuenta también cómo ha sido este periodo para él y para su familia, cómo lo ha cambiado la vida adoptar un perro y muchas cosas más. Nuestra charla de hoy es con un hijo de la historia, Ziggy Marley. Está en la nueva edición de El Podcast por Canal 13. How you doing, sir? So great to meet you.
Yeah, man, nice to meet you.
How are you doing? How's everything going? How are you holding up?
Holding up good. We'll give thanks. Everything all right so far.
All right, cool. That studio in the back, is that your studio?
Yeah, home. At home, man.
All right. Where do you live?
Nah, Los Angeles.
Okay, how long have you lived there?
About 15 years.
All right. What's it like in LA right now? Tell me a bit about the environment, the climate, what you guys are going through, how you holding up with the family and the whole thing?
Well, you know, I mean, earlier on in the year, we're up on lockdown and quarantine and stuff, and everyone is home, everybody was home, and everybody doing homeschooling right now. But it's kind of more, I think it's more opening up now, so we're not doing so bad. You know, we're doing all right. We have to give thanks, you know.
You had some time to make some music. You've made music with friends. You got a beautiful new song with Ben Harper. You know, that's a beautiful song you got there.
Yeah, man, I love that song personally. That song is like, after we finish it, you know, whenever I'm feeling stressed, that's the song I play. The song that just lift, it does somehow take away my stress.
How'd you hook up with Ben Harper? Did you know him from way back?
Yeah, man, me and Ben worked together before. We did some shows before, and I love his music, respect him as an artist. So we've known each other for a few years now.
All right. This is an album that's heavy on the collaboration front. And let's talk a bit about that process of picking the collaborators and, you know, and pitching the songs to them or having them pitch songs to you. Tell me everything about it.
Well, this album, and also what I did, I wrote the songs, we did the music, and then we reached out to the artists them. And each song kind of gave me the idea of who I'm going to ask, you know? So like, the Play With Sky song was perfect for Ben. This is a song for Ben. Let me just ask Ben. And then we have a song like Everywhere You Go. I say, this sounds like a Sheryl Crow song. Let's ask Sheryl, you know? So each song we did like that. I did the Jambo song, which we sung in Swahili. And that's the first time I'm singing a song in completely another language other than English. And Angelique, I've known her for years too. And I mean, there's nowhere else to go but with her to help to get me into that space of singing in Swahili, African language. And so each song just kind of pointed to the direction of which artist I should reach out to.
Yeah. How hard is it to sing in Swahili?
It wasn't hard. I mean, I had a friend from Kenya who was here teaching me the words. But it was pretty easy for me. I'm good at that.
You're good at conveying the feelings that come with the words, because it sounds like really, really tough, like tougher than Spanish, at least, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, true. I speak Patois in Jamaica. We talk Patois, so it have the same. It's not the same words or language, but it have the same like the same spirit, the same intonation, the same like way you pronounce it with a certain energy there, you know.
Yeah. When you write a song and you give it to Angelique or you give it to Ben or to Alanis, do they work on the lyrics themselves too, or is this just something that you just say, okay, this song is perfect for Angelique, so I'm just gonna put it out there, or this song is in the case of the Ben Harper song, this song is perfect for Ben, and Ben just goes ahead and performs it and interprets it?
Yeah, he just interprets it. The lyrics, I wrote the lyrics, and they interpret it. But Ben have a different way of singing. Everybody have their own way of singing. And so when I sent it to them, I sent to them with the vocal as I had it, as I had sung it. But when like Ben did it, he did a whole different, you know, he sings it his way. And so when he sent it back to me, I was like, whoa, all right, I have to change, you know, the way I sing to kind of fit with the way Ben was singing it. or change how I sing it because of how Cheryl changed up her melodies and stuff. So they changed the melodies a lot and how they did stuff. They didn't copy me exactly as how I sent it. And so when they sent it back, I had to readapt myself to the way what they had done.
How long did it take you to write all these songs for this new album?
Not very long. This album was done during the quarantine. So it took me like a month to really finish up the record. It was really quick. It was really an album inspired by my son, my 4-year-old son. And I felt that it was necessary at this time. I feel like that was my purpose, because to help children get through a situation like this, I felt, we needed to be a part of that. And that's just my intuition. That's what came to me.
Yeah, that's great intuition too, because so many people and so many parents are hanging out with the kids, 24/7, and it's for some people it's easy, but not for everyone,
No, not for everyone, but we can learn from it though. I mean, for me, I kind of came to a realization after spending weeks or months with the kids. It's like, oh, hold on there. But we don't spend a lot of time with our children because they're in school most of the times. And it was like, I'm just realizing that now, that most of the kids' life, they don't really grow up with the parents who's supposed to be instilling them with parental knowledge, They grew up in school with the school system and their friends. And so I took it as kind of a positive, kind of like, oh, this is I see why I'm coming to this realization. And what it has taught me is that when things go back to normal and the kids them now are back in school, I still need to spend more time with them because they don't spend most of the time with me. And so how do we teach our children when they're not with us most of the times,
Yeah. And what's interesting about this whole idea and this whole new beautiful concept of the album being inspired by the 4-year-old is that you get to know them in a way that you wouldn't have gotten to know them had you not been locked up, because it's like they're a whole different world. You would think that just because they share your genetic heritage or because they're a part of you, that you got it all figured out when it comes to kids. But then, quarantine comes and you start seeing, oh my goodness, this is a whole different person,
No, it's true. I mean, and I don't know, I feel like this period of time, like especially with my son, they got a lot of time to spend with their dad. And so I feel like they matured more, spending more time with me and learning from me, not by me like teaching, but just by being around me more. They get to learn more about what it is to be, a man or to be a responsible person. They're learning more from me instead of like from a teacher in school. And I think this was an important time in all of our lives. For me and my children, it was a very important time. We remember it for that,
What have you learned from the kids over the course of these few months beyond, putting all that learning into an inspiration for artistic purposes, which again, I commend you for in the sense that this will really have us look into our relationships with our kids very much more deeply. But you as a person, as a human being, as a man, and as the son of a great man, what have you learned?
Well, it's teaching me more patience. I think that's what it is, because when the kids are home, it's constant. Everybody was like, there's no breaks. Everybody wants something every time. So I think it teaches me to be calmer and to take breath, to like just, all right, don't get too, it's a lot. So it's teaching me to be more calm, I would say. It's like after consciously, all right, breathe and let's deal with the situation.
You most definitely have to learn how to breathe in those circumstances. That's definitely one of the things that we've learned. Tell me about I understand that the pet of the family is involved in the recording of the album as well.
Yo, that was another. He taught me a lot too because we got the dog right before the quarantine, and he was a puppy, and a puppy is like another baby. Like, you know, it's like you have another baby. And my wife was like, "Oh God, we have." It's like it was very stressful, but again, it teaches you how to deal with situation and to overcome them. You know, and it's all about patience and breathing and having a mindset of, all right, we're in this situation and we have to deal with the situation. We can't fight it, we can't be upset with it, we can't like, oh my God, we can't like put negativity all the time in our brains. So the dog the dog was stressful. It was a thing. So I mean, we were, you know, oh, let's give away the dog. No, but let's not give out. No, it's too much. It's too much. Oh, so the dog was a big part of the growing process, and to actually be with another creature, another living being that's not human, it really connects us more to the whole universe, to the nature and to the spirituality. The animals are all a part of that and can teach us so much about that. To care for another creature that is not a human being. It's such a spiritual thing. And for trying to understand an animal. Because my kids never had a pet before. My wife didn't have pets. I grew up with dogs, but it's been a while since I've had a dog. And so there was a lot of kind of observing and just understanding that this is another living being, you know, and how we communicate with that being. And so he was inspirational on the album too. I wrote a song about him, you know.
I actually got a dog before the quarantine as well, and I got a dog before I got into quarantine, and I've learned so many things. You know what? I've learned so much about everything that's going on right now, and you would think that it's like a given. You would think that, you know, it's something that you take for granted, but I've learned so much about respect for animals, respect for the environment, respect for my family, respect for humankind in general. And the dog has taught me so much more about that.
Yeah, man, I said, we all teach everyone, we all connected, so we learn from everyone, even from the dog, we can learn something. This is, you have to have an open mind to be like that, because if you kind of close your mind, then it becomes even more, the anxiety becomes more. So if you just free your mind and, you know, accept the learning and the teaching from all around us, then it's much more easier to deal with situation.
When you get together with Jamie Lee Curtis, does the friendship go way back?
Jamie Lee, well, yeah, I mean, she was on the last album. So, and we, the thing with Jamie Lee is that when my kids were babies, you know, I still have the youngest one is 4, but many years ago, she wrote books, and so we used to read her books to the kids. So I've known her as an actress, and I've known her as a writer. And so when we did that first Family Time album, I was like, yo, let's call Jamie and see if she would do, come read a story, read one of her books on the album. And I think she was so cool and happy to do it. And so from that, we had a connection. And then I think it was interesting to have not just music on the album, but like have a story being read on the album.
Let's talk about the state of reggae culture and Black culture right now. What's your take on everything that's happened first? But let's start with the music first. Let's start with how it's evolved and turned into a powerhouse of massive hits. What's your take on what's gone on with the whole reggae revolution and the dancehall revolution?
Well, I mean, every generation come put them own take on something that is traditional or something that is cultural. So we find that, I mean, the dancehall thing has been happening for a while now. From in the 80s, after my father passed away, there was a whole shift in the music and in the culture and in the influences that reached to the kids in Jamaica. So when we was growing up, we had different influences in Jamaica, which wasn't so Americanized, okay? So after my father passed, the 80s come in, the 80s, a lot of more I'm not talking about even music, because there was always a musical influence from America in a very beneficial way. But after that, then it became the music that influencing the youths and the culture. It became more materialistic, more sexual, more violent. And I feel like there was a generation that didn't have that spiritual element to the music. And so we lost that. Even though it was popular to the youths at the time, we still lost some of that spirituality in the music that made it a worldwide phenomenon. In terms of influence, in terms of inspirational music that inspires positive changes in the world, not just entertainment. So we lost some of that. But now we see it kind of shifting back with the next set of youths coming up now, which I would say is probably the third generation of reggae music. Because my father's generation was first, my generation is probably second. Oh, probably fourth. Then there was a generation after me, and then this is probably the fourth generation. I would characterize it that way. We see that the consciousness and the idea of the spiritualness coming back into the music more now. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
And I think it's important that you go back to other subjects, such as, you know, hanging out with the kids and hanging out with the family. I think that contributes to the spirituality. If not, you know, it may not be seen as a commercial affair in all the sense, but I think it's so important that you touch on other subjects from genres which are so rich in spirituality. And I think that, you know, beginning with family, because family enriches the spirit, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, everyone come from a family, right? All of it come from somewhere, and that's family. But yeah, I feel like it's important that our music not be boxed into what we think it should be. I think there should be more freedom in the music. And so me doing a children's album, because not many reggae artists do children's album, not many focus on that. So I think doing that kind of widens the reach and the scope of the understanding of the music and the power of music. And so I think it's very important that we touch on different elements in our lives, not just social elements or not just material elements, but the family elements, everything, just spreading it out more, you know, reaching out more.
When it comes to, let's talk about recovering your masters. I understand that you recovered your masters after a while of not having them or not owning them, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is something that we learned from our parents. You know, growing up with my mother and father, they started out as an independent people selling records, you know, on their heads with bicycles. My father was a businessman. A lot of people don't know that he was a businessman too. He started his own record label, his own manufacturing of records, his own printing his own T-shirts back in those days, opening his own record shop. So he was an entrepreneur as well as a musician who wanted to control what he did instead of give it to, at the time it was like the companies that would steal from the artists. I would take the lion's share of the profits from the music and give the artists just a minimum. And so that spirit of independence was instilled in me from a very young age. So when I got the chance to be independent, I really jumped at that chance. So instead of taking money from a company, I said, I don't want your money, give me my music. Yeah, and I will own my music. You know what I say? So that spirit is a very freeing spirit. I mean, even if the success wasn't there, at least I had my freedom. At least I felt a sense of pride and independence in where I stand as an individual, you know?
How hard was it to become independent after everything that you've told me and the heritage of your father being the true independent by nature? How hard was it for you, even if you knew from the very beginning that your parents were entrepreneurs?
Well, I mean, it took some time because I wish I had started out independent, but I didn't, right? So It took some time, but I think I was in a privileged position anyway, because we learned from, I had learned from my father's situation, with like his publishing being owned by somebody else and are partly owned by somebody else. And, you know, I learn a lot. I am a student in this life, and I observe and learn from everything that happens around me. And so I had already known that was where I wanted to go. And I don't know, it wasn't difficult in the sense of making a decision to do it, because it was always in me. I think a part of it was a fear of not having the support of the musical corporations. What would happen? How would it work? How would the music? I think there was a fear there, but I was lost in the music, and I just wanted to make music. So it didn't really sit on my mind that much. It was very easy for me to do it.
When you write songs nowadays, and I'm going back to the question of writing the songs and putting them out there for Alanis and for Sheryl Crow to sing and for Ben Harper to sing, amongst other artists, part of that independent spirit makes you want to produce those songs, or how do you work in the spirit of collaboration in that sense?
Well, I'm very open in the collaboration idea. You know what I mean? I am so willing to learn. I am so willing. My mind is open. So I am never ever in a position where I want to dictate or be my way or no other way. I will always try another way if I have the opportunity, and then I will follow my spirit. If it works. If it doesn't work, I'll be true and say, well, no, it doesn't work. But I will always try to make it work, and then give it a shot. And if it doesn't work, then okay, it doesn't work. But I'm never going to be like, no. I'm going to try and make it work. And so that is how I do it, you know.
What are your expectations for the release in September the 18th about the album? Is there anything that you would like to happen when that day comes, or are you, as you say, open to the surprises that will come with the release of the new album?
No, well, I mean, I'm very happy about this album. I think for me, is one of my best experiences making music. This album, the writing process and the whole situation that it came out of was a whole experience. But I mean, I don't have no expectations or not. No, I mean, I'm just happy that I am able to do something different, and not what everybody else is doing, and be unique and individual and in my own space. This is my space that I create this space, and this is what I'm doing. I'm not going to do what you do or what he does. I'm going to do what I do, and this is what I feel like to do right now, and here it is. You know what I mean? I hope that families and children enjoy the music and dance to the music and just be free with the music. That's what I hope. People to dance, and just kids and families and everybody to be free.
How does technology fit in the whole creation of this album, and how does it help you, such a spiritual person, connect with other kindred spirits in the creation of this children's album?
Well, you know, I was against technology at first, you know. I was like, oh, this technology. I even wrote a song about it. I didn't release it, but so like this technology, you know, but there's good in it. There's a lot of good in the technology. Because if it wasn't for that, I mean, I wouldn't be able to create the album that we did, obviously, because everybody wasn't here in the same space. And I wouldn't be able to have my own little studio set up in a way that is feasible, that I can afford to do what I do without, you know, spending a bunch load of money to do it. So it's very feasible. The technology has allowed us to even reach out more to the fans them from our point of view. We don't know with technology. I don't have to wait or depend on a magazine to put me in. If a magazine don't want to put me in their magazine, I don't have to. I mean, I can still reach the people through technology. If a radio station don't want to play my music, I still can find a way to get my music to people. So technology has really helped us to be independent even more, you know, and to give us the opportunity to do things that we couldn't have done without it, you know.
What do you say to your kids about technology nowadays, understanding that that it has been beneficial for your creative process, and that even though you are not entirely for it, but also not entirely against it, you kind of know what the dangers are? What advice do you give to your kids?
Well, I mean, these kids nowadays, they are so boy. I mean, technology for them is a two-edged sword, really. Because sometimes they get too lost in it and I have to take it away. And they don't. So what I tell them, so listen, you have to be able to let go of it, technology too. You have to be able to not have it and still be happy and still live your life. Do not depend on it for, you know, I mean, sometimes them get habitual and you can get addicted to it. You know what I'm saying? You can get addicted to the Instagram, the TikTok, and it's almost like a thing that you need, and if you don't have it, you're anxious. So I take it away from them a lot of times, and I try to explain to them, you must be okay with not having this. You must be all right with it. And so that's how I deal with them, you know?
Let's talk about mental health a little bit, because you look and sound like a very mindful person, and it's not easy to achieve. You know, achieving mindfulness in this crazy world that we're living in is hard, and you know, that comes with, you know, being confident in who you are. And you just mentioned anxiety, which I think is also kind of like a key part of creative processes, no matter where they are, whether they're in music or art or sculpture. There's always a little bit of fear. Did you feel any of that? Did you feel anxious at creating these songs, and, you know, maybe not getting rejected by someone or something?
You know, I've been through a lot, right? In my personal space, and I've learned to deal with my own mental state. I understand what's going on with me. I studied myself. I know myself, and so I know how to let go. You know what I say? And I know how to not let my ego dictate my reaction to things. And it's just a personal thing that I've developed over time. Was not like this for all the time. I wasn't like this all the time. I used to have anxiety too, but then I studied myself. I understood what it was. I understood why it was happening, and I figured out a way mentally to fix it, to not have it control me, but I control it. And it's just a personal thing, man. It's just a personal struggle. It's not a thing that I could say, hey, do this and do that and you'll be okay. It's not, it's individual. You have to find your way. You know what I say? You have to find your way. And it is, but all I can say that it is possible for you to find your way. You know what I mean? It's the breath, and it's the awareness and the acknowledgement that it is possible for you to find a way.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess these things, you know, I mentioned them because we were talking about the whole social media and the whole technology thing, and I was just going to ask you about social media, because one thing is technology and another thing is the connection between technology and social media. What's your opinion on social media, and particularly on TikTok, which you just mentioned?
Everybody's telling me I should get TikTok. I don't. Ziggy, you should get TikTok. It's going to help you. I don't know. I don't understand what it really is. You know, so I don't know. I mean, the social media thing, it's, again, everything is a two-edged sword, yeah, man, because you find that a lot of people have like millions and millions of people that are following them. But then what you look at what you're following, you try to understand why are people following somebody because them show them body, and like sometimes I don't understand it. And I feel like I wish that some of these people who have there's so much influence that could happen, so much changes that we could make in the world right now, today, right now. If the people who have these millions of people would just figure out a way to send a message to these followers, that will make the world a better place right now, today. And that is where I am with social media. Like I said to myself all the time and to the people that run the social media thing, like, what is it for? What is the purpose of it? Why am I on social media? What am I doing here? What is it for? I must have a purpose. It can't just be, sell a record, blah, blah, blah. I mean, people want to have the experience of understanding you more as a human being, and that is a part of it. But then there's a bigger part of it where we can do so much good just with the influence that we have. There's billions of people who are influenced by thousands of people. What can we do to change the world right now? It's possible, but we need someone to push. I wish I had 10 billion people on my social media. I would do so much shit with that.
But I think that, but in that case,
I've got 1.2 and I'm working on it, but if the more I have would be the better. We would make some changes in this world.
But I got to tell you one thing. Sometimes, and when it comes to people like you, I don't think it's about the quantity as much as it is about the quality of the words that they put out and the work that they put out. It doesn't matter if you have a billion people. Like, you can change many lives by just putting this record out and, make through music, through such a subtle awareness, a spiritual awareness of what it means to be in a quarantine with the family and appreciating it and calling it more quality time. I think that's going to make a difference, Ziggy. I think that's going to be big, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Every little bit counts, man. That's how I put. That's my mindset. Like, and then even though I said that about billions, it really don't matter to me. I'm gonna do what I do because every little bit counts. Even the ants count about in this ecosystem. So all of us count. Everything we do counts. So it don't matter if you have a billion people or one people. It counts.
Right before you were making this album, were you working on anything musical? Like, were you working on collaborations? Because I read in the press release that the last album had been from 2009. Is that right, or am I wrong here?
Well, no, the last family album, but my album was 2 years ago. Was called Rebellion Rises, and that album it is indicative of what's going on now in this world, and we did some tours with that. So the songs and those albums kind of relate to what's happening today in the world.
You are kind of predicting what's going on now.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just the intuition and the spiritual inspiration. Because we're inspired. We don't just make stuff up. I don't know what, man. Some people say God. I don't know what to call it, bro. I have no. We could call it whatever we want to call it. The universe, God, whatever. But I actually know that there is outside influences on me, musically, spiritually.
Yeah, it's hard to put a name to it, but it's out there. Something's got to be taking place.
That's the way I feel. That's my experience, and that's how I rationalize it, because I don't have no other answers for it,
Yeah. When you did Rebellion Rises, and now that you look back on it, do you listen, or do you go back to your previous albums? I guess is my question.
No, not really. I don't like listening to myself that much.
I can understand that definitely. Do you want to tour this new album?
Say it again.
Do you want to tour this new album?
Yeah, the plan is right now. We're starting to get some shows right now, and they're doing like driving shows where people drive their cars, like a driving movie. So we're doing some shows like that. And then what I'm trying to do is like in the daytime, I do like a matinee show for children. And then in the nighttime, we do like the regular show with like the songs from my father's songs, my songs from like the previous albums. So we're trying to do it like that. And we're just getting the opportunities to go out there and play the new songs for kids. But we're trying to do it, as I said, in the mornings, in the matinee, we do something for kids. And in the nighttime, we do a regular show for everybody, you know?
Let's talk about the political impact of music in these troubled days and in the Black Lives Matter phenomenon. I want to ask you, as a Marley, what your take is on the movement and what's taking place right now.
Well, I mean, you can't turn a blind eye to these things that is happening, in America especially. So something needs to be done. And the only avenue for the people is to do what the people are doing. Because I don't know what else, there's nothing else to do for the people. If we want some changes in the system, we want some understanding in America, that it is not such a easy and nonchalant thing to do to kill Black people or to look on them in a stereotypical way. So these are the issues that must be addressed. And the people have no other way, because racism has existed a long time, right? A long time. And I don't even understand how it still is something that is permanent, going through society. Like I can't fathom racism. I don't understand why that idea is not yet wiped out of the consciousness of humanity. Because it doesn't make any sense. It only makes sense to politicians and people who want to divide people so that they can have power. And so the people have to rise up. And so this is the rising up of the people again, because it's not the first time, it won't be the last time. And it's been happening for 400, 500 years, you know? So it will continue to happen as long as the people see that within the system, there is still a bias against people of color. Within the American society, especially, there is still a systematic bias against the people, poor people, people of different ethnicities. There's still something amiss there. So we have to support the movement of the people in this effort. But we want it to be a peaceful movement, but it still has to disturb. It still has to be disturbing. It can be peaceful and still disturb. So we are not for the violent reaction to these things, but we are for peaceful protest that disturbs the complacency of society. It cannot be like, oh, you can protest, but stay in that corner. It has to disturb. It's the only way you're going to get the attention, but it must not be violent.
I don't want to steer away from the music too much and get into political matters, but I do want to ask a disturbing question regarding the defunding of the police. Do you agree with defunding the police, Ziggy?
No, of course, you can't take away all the money. I mean, you have to figure out, you need to fund, if you want to defund the police, it depends on how much money the police is getting and what they're using that money for. If I'm giving the police money and they're using it to brutalize me, then I don't want to have to take away the money that you're using to brutalize me. If you're taking the money to put on more weapons and to buy tanks to run over the people, then let's take away that money. But if you're using that money to, say, develop better training methods that can help you, the police officer, better communicate with the community and to have a better relationship with the community, then here's the money. You understand me? So it's not black and white. It's not like defund or not. It's like, I will fund you if you're using the money for a positive purpose that will help the whole society become more unified and better understanding of each other. I will give you all the money you need. But if that money is going to be used in a way to elevate the oppression of the people, then come on, man. You know what I'm saying? So there is nuances to it. There's nuances to it that we have to look into. To defund the police is not a blanket idea that, oh, let's just take away all the money from the police and da-da-da. No, there's good police, there's bad police. Police do a service to the people. But let's fund them in a way that the fund that they are getting is used to help the community also, and not just to oppress and to brutalize the community.
I hope things turn out for the better in that sense, and we finally come to the realization that many of those changes are very simple and very easy, you know? Like, I don't know why common sense eludes us in these matters. You know, it's weird, but I really hope that everything that is happening with Black Lives Matter turns out for the best and for the improvement of everyone, including, of course, the improvement of Black people in the United States. And as you say, the whole police debate, which I think is fascinating. But I also want to just pinpoint that it's very interesting to have you in this conversation. I feel the need to say that your father and yourself and some of your brothers have always turned out to be very sincere and honest musicians in the midst of very troubled times. And they have somehow become political figures of music movements. But I keep thinking that it's all about the spirituality that finally makes its way into political consciousness of all sorts, races, color, creeds. And but I still, you know, I guess my question is, do you guys consider yourselves political because of the heritage and because of the strength and the power that your father's words instilled in generations and generations to come?
Yeah, no. I mean, we don't think about it like we think we're human beings who have a heart and have feelings and have emotion and have empathy towards other human beings. And if we feel a certain way, we express that way in music. And sometimes that expression can be seen as political. Like if I care about poor people or I care about injustice, then it becomes political. But it's not coming from, oh, let me get political, or let me be against this political person or political party. That's not where things come from. Things come from the care of humanity, the feeling we have towards each other. So that's where everything comes from. And it is driven by spirituality, because the spirituality philosophy that we have is one of unity, is one of one love. And so if you have that philosophy, you're going to care if someone is being brutalized. You're going to care if someone is hungry and can't get food to eat. You're going to care if someone is suffering. You're going to care for the children. So that becomes political, but it isn't coming from a political point of view.
Definitely. I've always felt that way. I've always thought that this is the way things work in when it comes to songs and albums such as Rebellion Rises. And it reminds me of that beautiful song by Bob Marley that says, until the philosophy which holds one person superior and another inferior, you know, is finally abandoned.
Discredited. Well, yeah, we have to discredit that. That has to be abandoned. You know, that's like, and it's like the leaders, we have a problem with leadership in this world. Like, why don't you're a leader, lead the people to the right, to that, no, lead the people to the discrediting of racism, to the abandonment of the idea of one person is better than another person because of the color of their skin or because one rich or one poor. Like, this is what leaders are supposed to do. But we have not those type of leaders in the world today.
Do you think your kids are going to grow up in a better world?
Yeah, man. Much better. I mean, listen, things have gotten better, right? Because from where we're coming from to where we are today, we cannot say that things have not gotten better in society. Yes, it has, but there is still more to get better. Like some people say, oh, you know, in America, no, racism done, you know, everything is okay. No, it's not okay. There's still more to be done. Just because it's not a part of written in the book, on the paper that, oh, you know, black people can't go here or whatever, that don't mean it doesn't exist. So there's still more work to be done, because it is in the consciousness of the people, it is in the minds of the people that the work needs to be done now. It's not no more in underwritten words. It's in the invisible words, in that space of the mind that people need to be influenced to follow a more positive, a more loving direction.
Elections are coming. November is coming. It sounds like a pretty hot and interesting year. I want to ask you, when this is all over, what would you like? Everyone's talking about the new normal, and I want to ask you about what you would like for your life and your children's lives and children's lives around the world to change as part of that new normality that people are so like trumpeting and talking about.
Listen, man, we can achieve anything we set our minds to as a species, as a human species. If we really want a better world, we can achieve that. It's easy, as you say. It's not hard. It's just leadership. It's just people at the top that people put into power that need to take the step. There's nothing impossible that we cannot do. For me, it's just less divisiveness amongst the people on the planet. More support of each other. We can help. We can feed everybody. We can do it. There's so much waste. We can take care of the planet. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. I mean, some corporation might lose some money for a minute, but they'll find another way. They'll make some more money another way. I mean, why are we deforesting? Why are we cutting down the Amazon? Don't we understand that the trees is what gives us oxygen? Isn't that a simple thing? Like, why are we not caring about the planet? Why are people denying the issue of the planet? I don't like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So these are the things I would like to see the power out of the hands of, let's say, corporations, or the influence of money into the political system that governs people. I would like to see that be less, but less divisiveness. We need better leadership. And I hope that our kids, will come up and be better leaders than what we have known, because these leaders are terrible. What is the goal? What is the dream? What is the agenda of leaders today? I don't know what the agenda is of these leaders. It doesn't seem to be something that is beneficial to the majority of humanity. It's beneficial to a small portion of humanity, but what about the majority of humanity? What is that? Who has the agenda for the majority of humanity, for the planet Earth? What's the agenda? We have lack of leadership, man. We need an agenda that addresses humanity, that addresses the whole planet, not just address one country or one party or one race. An agenda that addresses the whole planet. And we can achieve that, but we need leadership.
And let's hope it comes from better leaders such as our kids. Yeah, definitely. I agree with you, man, because our leaders are really shitty, man. Really bad. We got really shitty leaders.
Yes, it's true. That's true, man. That's not a lie. We can't lie about that.
I look forward to hearing the entire album. I think it's inspiring. I think it's beautiful. I think you are being, with the family, spending time with them, getting to know your kids is just part of the positive things that are coming out of this year, of this strange pandemic year. And it's been great talking to you and having the chance and the privilege to do so. Please take care of your children, your kids, send them my regards. And once again, many thanks for accepting this interview. It's been great.
Yeah, man. Good interview, man. Thank you, brother.
I appreciate it, sir. Take good care, sir.